aconteceu aqui em São Paulo, em 1988. No palco do antigo Palace, Flora Purim e Airto Moreira se apresentaram pela primeira vez no Brasil após 20 anos de Estados Unidos. Como acontece com todo músico que sai em busca de novas oportunidades, o casal é mais conhecido e respeitado lá fora do que aqui. Neste show eles estão acompanhados por grandes músicos americanos. Steve Barr no teclado, Robert Harrison no contrabaixo, Mike Shapiro na bateria e Gary Meek nos saxofones. Flora abre o show com Partido Alto, uma composição forte do Azimuth, um grupo também da década de 80, e depois interpreta Nada Será Como Antes, com um belíssimo solo de Gary Meek ao sax tenor. Dê uma conferida. Obrigado.
Yeah, they are very good. You see, Gary Meek is in there. He worked with me for 20 years.
Yeah, he looks really young there.
Very young, 22.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest, Flora Purim. I'm so happy to have you on. It's just exciting. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I told you I was talking with the singer Elizabeth Canto Manu on Monday, who's old school and just really wonderful, wonderful, wonderful singer, old school and new school. But and listening to you now too, I mean, you were a leader in that whole, for a bunch of years. You were the leader in that style, a new style of singing jazz, and you were a lot of people's influence.
Yeah, I'm beginning to find out. Because very young people come to me and they have my music, and I am in this business for 64 years, and some of this music comes from that time. That's why on this new record it's going to be all new, and there are new times, new life. Everything's going to start. This is going to be over hopefully soon, and we have to renew ourselves. Sometimes it's comfortable to do what you do good and it works and everybody like it.
Yeah.
But it comes a point where you don't renew yourself. You become older than the music.
By the way, Hakan Graf is here.
Oh.
And he said laughingly, he said, "You never recorded her song." His song. Sorry, Hakan. And anyway, he played with you at the North Sea Festival in '87.
Oh wow, 87 is a long time.
I know. He's a great pianist, actually.
There's some people, when I'm coming out of a show, some people come to me with the record. Can you sign? I says, of course. Do you remember me? I saw you in 1986 at the Den Haag. And I said, let me think. Oh, yes, I remember. Of course, I can't remember somebody I saw 50 years ago and I haven't seen it again. But Angela Miles said something very interesting. She said, you may like some music, you may like a show, you may like a poem, you may like a book, but what you never forget is the way you feel when you heard them, is the feeling you had that made you feel like that, more than all the other things that were happening, And I thought of it, and she's right, because when you have memories from your past, you go straight to the place where you remember feeling really good. That night, the band was perfect. Everything was perfect. The audience was playing with you and singing. And you only, we have a word in Brazilian, in Portuguese, called saudade. And this word doesn't have translation because saudade is a feeling. You cannot describe saudade. And Airto said to me, yeah, but it's not any feeling. You only have saudade of the good things. You don't feel saudade of the bad stuff that happened, you know? So
Right.
it's a very special word.
I love that about languages. I've been to Japan a lot, so I've picked up, when people speak to me in foreign languages, I usually start answering them in Japanese. But there's a word genki, which basically means healthy, feeling good. But it's not, there's not a literal translation, Genki is genki,
Yeah.
It's saudade. Yeah, I've heard that word a lot, and of course in songs.
Everybody sings about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're going to play more music after this conversation, but the song that followed, the one I just sang, I sing in English, is Brazilain, is a Milton Nascimento composition. And the title of the song is Nothing Will Be As It Was Tomorrow.
Yeah.
And this was written 50 years ago too,
Yeah.
And he perceived that everything changes all the time. Nothing remains the same. Nothing. Like I came back to Brazil, I had to learn Portuguese again because I spent so much time out of the country. And I mixed words. So I speak in Portuguese, then I don't remember the words, so I say it in English. And it's very, very strange.
How long have you been back in Brazil?
I've been here for about 5 years.
Okay, not too long. By the way, Jimmy Branley sends a big warm hug.
Oh, my Jimmy. Jimmy is totally it. One of the best drummers I ever worked with. A great technician, knows everything about studio. And he's got a groove. He's Cuban. He's got that mojito de Cuba, And he can play. He made me so happy when he was in England with me. I would like to get together with him again sometime when it's possible.
Yeah, he's a really, really special player. I was curating a place for 2.5 years, and I was booking different people, and he came in several times, and I was always I couldn't do anything else while I was listening to him. It was like, whatever.
No, and it's not just drums. He plays congas, bong, any instrument that has to do with drums, batatas, anything. He knows profoundly. He knows it deeply. And when I met him, he told me when I went to Cuba first time, he was 12 years old. I remember he was 12 years old. And time passed, and he came to U.S., and I saw him in California, and I needed a drummer to go to England with me. And I went to his audition, and he killed it. I said, that's him. That's him. Let's take him. I don't want to hear anymore. There were 10 drummers waiting to audition. No, that's it.
Jimmy, you ruined it for everybody else.
Yeah.
By the way, Hakan Graf said he played with you with Ulf Joachinius and Lars Danielsson, and they played, I don't know if they played one song, but they played Do You Think It's True?
In which country this was?
This was the North Sea Festival.
Right. Over there. With that, Lars is a typical name from that area. Yeah, and they have used to have a very small club called the Montmartre. And everybody played. It was really small, but Miles plays there. Everybody played there because that was the place. That was the place where the musicians like to do, like jazz musicians. They don't like theaters. They don't like huge stadiums. What they really love is a small, engaged audience because they are close to them. They can feel them. They feel the musicians, and the musicians feel the audience. And I don't know. I do like to play small places. I prefer playing small places.
Yeah, and you must have played lots of big places to compare to also.
Oh,
right?
no, I did because like when you go to the theater, well, let me tell you one story you may not know. I did some work with the Grateful Dead. You know the Grateful Dead.
I was a deadhead.
You and my daughter. But, they only played humongous place. So when I went to see the show, and the drummer, Mickey Hart, said, did you bring your microphones, your effects? And I used to have drums who have several, but Flora, did you bring the effects? I said, well, I left it in the car in the parking lot. Go get it. I want you to sit in. This was the first time. I said, Mickey, what am I going to sing? I don't know the music of the Grateful Dead. He said, we're going to do the Rhythm Devils. The Rhythm Devils is an ensemble with just percussion and drums. I said, but I am a singer. I don't care. Do the sounds. Do the sounds. So I rushed, and I got my effects, and I joined. And the Deadheads, they really, I think they don't really listen to the music. They party most of the time. And there were thousands of them there. And it was unique for them to see me, a woman that was not a singer, on stage doing the thing, with the Rhythm Devils.
That's funny. The Grateful Dead, they did party, but they knew the songs. They knew the songs intricately. So they partied, and then they knew the songs really well.
Well, when I asked him, how long is the show going to take? Well, between 6 and 8 hours. I said, what? The show is going to take between 6 and 8 hours? Yeah. What we do is we play a little, then we take a break. And then a guest come in. And that night there was Bonnie Raitt was one of the guests, and she killed it. She got her guitar and she sang. She's marvelous, she's marvelous and so friendly. And after the show, she came to meet me and gave me a hug and said how much she appreciate what I do. And they do a segue of 2 hours. They stop, and then a new guest come in, and that's why it takes 8 hours.
Oh yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. What a different way of gigging, huh?
Yeah. They love it.
Yeah. There's so much to talk about with you. But I do want to ask you, I am curious when I was thinking about speaking with you, because your bio is quite thorough. So, anybody can read your bio, but I wanted to ask you, when you grew up, were you in a musical family, or was everybody musical? Sometimes I think, oh, Brazil, everybody's musical. And also, did I read your parents were?
Yeah, they both play music. My mother was a concertist, piano player, and my father plays the violin, And then when we were very, very small, they would sit us in the sofa and play for us, for the three of us. We were three. And I was like 2 years old or 3. The sound of the violin made me cry because it sounded like a child crying.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop crying as my father played. And my mom, they study 6 to 8 hours a day to play Rachmaninoff and all those. They love classical music, of course. And when they met, I think they fell in love because of the music, because she could back him up, and they would play the charts, and it was an incredible romance, that romance, because she is Brazilian. My mother was born in Pernambuco, which is northeast Brazil. Nevertheless, her parents made her study piano until the end, and she became, she formed, and she had absolute ear too. So let's see, we'll go to the movies and see a movie, Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
As soon as we come back home, she opens the piano, sits in, and play the whole score.
Oh my God!
Without reading, she heard it and she kept it in her ear, and she knew everything. It was,
Wow.
I was amazed. How can she remember every song?
Huh.
But that musical, I think everybody remember all the songs, don't you?
Yeah, that was a great musical. Very good songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And was your dad Brazilian too, or?
No, my dad was from Russia.
Oh, okay.
From Belarus, but at the time he was a child, it belonged to Russia, and then later it belonged to. It was an independent country, and then Russia took over.
I see.
And so he speaks Romanian. He studied in Romania, and he studied in Belarus and what became in Moscow and St. Petersburg. But his favorite type of music was the gypsy music, the Cigano gypsy music.
Yeah.
He used to hang out around the camps of there are a lot of gypsies, and he would observe and see how they have. That's where I got the emotion thing, because my mother was precise. She wouldn't miss one note.
Yeah.
But my father, he nearly cried when he played this beautiful adagio, and it was interesting to see how they are so different, and they yet love playing together.
Yeah. So as you grew up, was you just jumped into singing, or was it? Were you playing, or?
When I was about 14, I joined Oscar Castro Neves' vocal quartet. I was a third voice of his quartet.
Oh, cool.
But I was very dedicated to sports, and I swam, and I jumped from trampolines, and I played basketball, volleyball, and athleticism, we call. And I developed an incredible, my breathing is very, very strong, because when you run a lot, you develop your lungs. And to swim too. Swim is the best sports, because it's not hard impact. You move your arms, you move your legs, you move your feet, you move, and you have every two braçadas, we call it. You take the face from the water and inhale and breathe again. So it develops every organ of your body. And it did help me a lot with my timing when I sing, because I could do it. I could do it because in sports, time is of essence. In everything, time is of essence.
Yeah.
If you tell a joke out of the time,
right,
it won't be funny. But take it like from Wayne Shorter, for instance. The Weather Report was an incredible band, and they played fast and together and tight. And Wayne would play very, very little. But when he played one note, it would change the whole landscape.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Jaco. One or two notes, everything that he played before was canceled, because Wayne changed it to another direction. And that was one of their best features, is the ability to pick up from anywhere and take it somewhere that nobody could possibly guess.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a really beautiful thing when not only a musician can do that, but the other musicians follow.
That's right.
Yeah, it's really
because you take if you play that note, you took them out of what they were doing. All they can do is follow you.
Yeah.
And I have to tell that Ron Carter was also like this. He played quite a lot with us, and in the middle of a big, fierce jam, he would stop and play one note and slide it, and then we all stopped, and then we came down and we follow him up to see where he was going to lead us. Is this a new forest? Is this a new way, a new road? Let's take his road. And even though I was the leader of that band, to me, he was the leader of the band. I paid attention in every move he made because he had no quarrels with any kind of. He would play a bolero. He would play anything. He does, as long as it's good music, then he's in. He doesn't have prejudice against any kind of music.
Yeah. Let's see. So I when I was looking around on the videos, I saw so many. Well, there's just all over the years. There's just tons. That first one was a pretty young you, right? And you said Gary Meeks was like 25 in that.
Yeah, I am 6 years older than Gary Meeks. He was young. He could play already. He was already, but he was not how he is today. Today, to me, he is the number one. He is number one. I don't know anybody that can do what he does. And he plays all the saxophones, all the instruments, and he plays piano like a pro. He's a pro. He's very, very good piano player. And he writes beautiful music. And I talk to him every day. We call each other.
Oh, really? Oh. He was on this show. He's such a great person, nice person, and played with so many different situations.
Yeah, he played with also great musicians, and the secret of his great playing, it was his teacher. His teacher's name was Phil Sobel.
Yeah, I just talked with somebody yesterday who had him as a teacher.
Yeah, and
Phil Sobel. Yeah.
He was so thorough. He knew so much. Somebody wrote, I should walk with a little book and a pen, taking notes of the things he says in between rehearsals, for he was a funny man too,
Yeah, there was a sax player on yesterday, Ben Clatworthy, who's English. He's a wonderful. He's one of my favorite tenor players. His teacher was Phil, and he was imitating him. I guess Phil had a grumpy way of speaking, but he was very kind and thorough,
because he wanted the musician not to fake it. He wanted the musician to learn, to understand. And again, timing was of essence for him, And Gary once mentioned to me, they were playing one of my songs in rehearsal, and Gary said, look how she phrases, look how she waits. Because I used to wait until the last minute to come in. And that I learned from João Gilberto. I will come in on time. And the musicians were, is she going to make it? Is she going to make it?
So, and when did you meet Airto?
I met Airto in São Paulo. He was already in the top 2 main groups of São Paulo. And he sings beautifully, but I never let him sing because he sings so much better than I do. And and when he does background, I look it back and do like this. Come, bring it down, bring it down, because his voice is so strong that it would overwhelm my voice. And he used to be so mad at me for saying that. Finally, about 3 months ago, one of his fans, a very wealthy woman, said she has a studio, and she said, I want to produce a record of Airto just singing. She made his day. And he just finished recording an album just singing. And I confess that he is really better than me in every, I mean, he sings, he's got that voice of Pavarotti, but he doesn't use it all the time. And he recorded an album with the old Brazilian songs from the 60s, beautiful ones, only with modern, very modern harmony. They reharmonized it. And there are a couple of songs that I can't help but cry because it touched me deeply.
Wow, that's really beautiful. I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Talk about, you know, always growing, always changing, you know.
Well, not many people know how good he sings. He does really. I mean, I know there are a few drummers that sing, but not like Airto. Airto is gonna be, he's gonna be famous for singing. Forget about percussion and drumming. He's gonna be very well known for singing.
That's really something. So, when you met, you played together. Was that how you met? Yeah.
I was hired to sing in a club. They had 4 bands and 4 singers, and I was one of the singers. And it happened that I got his trio to back me up. So he wouldn't talk to me. He hated singers. He wanted to play instrumental, and he played it really, really loud. And I was having a hard time singing with him because I couldn't hear myself. See, I tried to talk to him, and he wouldn't talk to me. and after 1 month, he used to play and leave the club. After 1 month, I followed him, and he went to a kind of a plaza to meet with the 2 or 3 other musicians. And when he saw me there, he said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I need to talk to you, and it's gonna be today, otherwise I'm gonna lose my job. What do you want?" Said, "Can you play a little less louder so I can hear my voice?" "No, I can't. That's the way I play. You have to sing louder." And I said, "But I sing like a flute. You know, a flute in an orchestra. If they are not taking a solo, you don't even hear them. You know, they are like, if they don't have 4 or 5 flutes or playing a solo, they are the smallest sound instrument in the orchestra. Please, please, pretty please." So his friend said, "Why don't you bring it down a notch?" And he looked at me, he cursed me, you know.
But he did.
Then slowly he started to play a little lower, and then we finally found a common ground. But I didn't know that. He deep inside, he felt attracted to me. When I turned 23, one of his friends, the ones we met at the plaza, brought me 2 dozens of flowers. He could die. He could die, you know. He would never cross his mind. So he said, "Happy birthday." He gave me the flowers, and I was, wow, a gentleman. Among musicians, a gentleman. I can't believe it. And then the other musician, who was the bass player that played with Airto, said, "Do you want to go for a pizza?" I said, "Why not? Let's go." But he invited just me. He didn't invite any others. When we arrived at the pizza place, Airto was already there. He sat on the table and spoiled the whole thing. So, needless to say that then he got hip that he didn't act quickly. He was going to lose it, you know. From that time on, he started to treat me with more gentle and give me more. He said, "I will never play like Don Ramon." Don Ramon was before him, was my man before him. So play the way you want to play, but don't overwhelm. When I sing, come down. When I'm not singing, break everything. As soon as I come in, come down so people know that's the end of your solo. Otherwise, you'll be.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. In a way, he reminds me of my first husband. You know, with all that kind of that funny attitude, and you know, really strong man.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's that machohood that men have. I think not today is not like that anymore.
No.
The musicians I meet today, young musicians, they gentlemen. They all gentlemen. You want some water? You want to sit? Do you want to? They treat me like this, you know, and I say, wow, Curitiba is not bad, you know. Maybe this is the place I'm going to end up.
Yeah, let's see. You were telling me before that that now when you play with younger musicians and you bring charts, they say, "Oh no, we don't need that. We know the songs."
Yeah, well, especially the Corea music.
Yeah,
they tell me that they were very young, like 14, 13, and their brothers turned them on to Corea. So one saxophone player I have said, I heard that record so much that I broke the record. There was no hole in the middle anymore because all I did was listen to that record, Return to Forever. And I said, wow, I thought in Brazil people would never know I am a singer, you know. I was a singer here, but they never pay attention. There was a beautiful singer here, and she took over, and she was, I will never hear, her name is Elis Regina.
Oh, sure.
I'll never hear a singer like that.
Yeah.
And she didn't read music or write music. She was an interpreter. But the way she presented the music, she changed the composition because she had a swing. She had, I don't know if she studied theater, but she moved in a certain way. And sometimes she would speak in the middle of singing. And she was absolutely fantastic. And I was so lucky that she lived not far from Curitiba. She lived in the south too. She lived in Porto Alegre. And her mother was very scared that she was moving to São Paulo and she didn't know anybody. But her mother knew me because my ex and me, on her birthday, they were very poor and they lived in one-room apartment. The two kids, her and brother, and father and mother. Yeah. The four of them in one-room apartment. So I said, let's take some flowers for her. It's her birthday. She's not expecting. She may feel good about it. So we went. And when I arrived there, she was sitting on the sofa sewing the blouse she was going to wear for the scene. She was sewing herself the blouse. And when she saw the flowers, her eyes laughed. You know, when her eyes laughed, we felt that she loved it. She felt appreciated. She said, somebody help me. I'm going to cry. And so when she came to São Paulo, her mom called me and said, could Elise live with you for a while until she get it together? I said, of course. I was living in a hotel right in front of where the musicians hang out. They called it Ponto dos Músicos. I don't know how to say ponto dos músicos in English. Is the where all when you needed a gig, you went to that bar, and for sure you got a gig because hundreds.
Music joint?
How?
Music joint?
Music joint? No,
Yeah.
it was not a music joint. They drank coffee and drank a lot of alcohol. And then, I need an accordionist for a wedding. Do you know anybody? Anybody can play accordion? And then somebody would show up. I can't play. Okay, you hired. Come in. And we live right in front of that place, and it was just me and her in a room. She has a bed. I had a bed, and
Wow.
she loved theater, and her mother trusted me that she would never leave if she didn't have a gig. She would never leave at night to go anywhere without me. But she was a virgin, you know.
Yeah.
And the mother was afraid that something could happen. So I said, cool, you can count on me. But she found a boyfriend. He was the director of the Arena Theater, was one of the most avant-garde theater, very political, most avant-garde theater. And she used to sleep in his apartment. One day, her mother called me at 10 o'clock in the morning, said, can I talk to Elise? Oh, she's taking a bath, but in about 10, 15 minutes, she'll be back. Call back in about half an hour, you talk. And I had my pajamas, and I ran with my pajamas 3 blocks on the street, knocking on his door with strong, Elise, come, quick, your mom wants to talk to you. She's gonna call in half an hour. And she came with me. And then how are things? Oh, Mom, everything is fine. I'm having a ball. I'm enjoying. São Paulo is great. They're great musicians. And I'm having Flora, and we talk about several things. We discuss books and we do things. But nothing was far from the truth.
What a great time. Oh my God. Yeah, she was really.
Yeah.
Just
I tell you one thing, she was she became so strong that when the musician didn't do what she expected him to do, she would fire him on the spot.
Oh, wow.
On the spot.
Wow.
And it was like, she knew what she wanted, and she knew it better than the musicians. And she would tell them, why don't you play this instead of that? And she would sing it to him, what she wanted him to play. And if he couldn't make it, okay, I'm sorry. Get another one.
Wow. Yeah, I remember when I first heard she and Jobim singing Waters of March. And I don't think I saw the video. I was just listening. And I could hear when they started smiling. And I just was so blown away. And, in America, that would, they would never allow that on a record. That would never happen, I was so kind of blown away. Somebody asked me, Elizabeth, the singer I was telling you about, she would like to know how you wrote San Francisco River. It's one of her favorite songs.
Well, all in all, I was born in Brazil by the daughter of immigrants. And I really never considered myself Brazilian, I love jazz. I could die for jazz. And my mother played with piano, and when my father left to work, she would put Oscar Peterson, Gil Evans, and she would put one that I loved very much. He grunted when he played, Errol Garner. He played and he made noises, and Thelonious. And Frank Sinatra, she adored him. She adored Frank Sinatra. So the music I heard really at home was jazz music.
Yeah.
And then when my father comes home, it changes to classical music. So I had a little bit of everything.
So the San Francisco song.
The San Francisco song was the first song I ever wrote. I played the acoustic guitar, and I wanted so much to go away and come to America and at least to meet my idols. I didn't want to sing. I just wanted to visit and see how they were as people. Because that's a strange thing I have to tell you. They are wonderful musicians, great musicians, but as human beings, they are assholes. You know,
Yeah.
they are most musicians. You fall in love with their music, and
Yeah.
you fall in love, but then they are off stage, not playing. They are not gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Brazil. They are not gentlemen. They were not what you expected them to be like their music, and they were not.
Yeah.
When they are playing, they had their music, but they were not playing. Forget it. All they wanted to do is to score a girl for the night. And they, but their main thing is, who am I going to get tonight? Who am I going to get?
So San Francisco, were you saying?
So I'm saying, oh, San Francisco River, I see you every day, running to meet the ocean. Someday I'll go away with you. Okay, because all the rivers ended in the ocean. Most rivers, they meet at one point and they ended in the ocean. And I thought, if I can reach the ocean, I'm gonna go away and never come back. I'll never come back. And indeed, I stayed in US for 54 years.
Oh, wow.
I came back twice to do shows here and left right back to US.
You lived in New York for the most part, right?
No, I spent 8 years in New York, and that's when I met Gil Evans, and Gil embraced me and put me in his band right away. And then Duke Person, who was from New Orleans, a piano player, also invited me to sing in his record. It was my first recording in America. And then suddenly Stan Getz showed up. And we used to meet after the gigs at Walter Booker's house. Walter played bass with Cannonball Adderley. And all the musicians will converge to his house so we could jam with each other, not gig, you know?
Yeah.
And they would change basses and they would change drummers and saxophone players. And I met most of the musicians at Walter Booker's house, became friends, including Chick. I first met Chick at Walter Booker's house. Later on, when I used to play with Miles Davis, Chick was a member of the band. So I got to meet him better, you know. He was a macrobiotic and he was so skinny, you could see his bones. They didn't eat anything. Him and Holland and David Holland and another two musicians were into macrobiotic. Jack DeGeneres, they would eat anything. They make their own bread. Nobody could touch it. They have to make it their own.
Wow.
And put miso pasta on it. And muti, they would drink muti, and they would make yoga exercises at Central Park.
Wow.
They were all so skinny. It seemed like they were in a country where there were no food, no water, no nothing.
Wow, that must have been a great hang, man. Woo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then on weekends, David Holland had a cottage in Woodstock, and Chick started to invited me to go with them, and he didn't realize I was with Airto, so he kept inviting me to come spend a weekend with them in Woodstock, and I didn't want to tell them I was with Airto, so I said, well, this week I can't, the next week I cannot, and gave all excuses, and then I never went, you know. And then then it was like Chick was the same age of me, and Stoney was 17 years old. He didn't finish high school, just joined the band. And Joe Farrell was also fantastic. His piccolo flute was,
Yeah.
I can't compare, because the first sax player that Chick invited was Hubert Laws. But Hubert recorded so much that he made much more money recording than gigging. And he didn't want to leave the city because he didn't want to. Chick had no money. We were making $50 a week.
Oh my God.
But we loved the music. We wanted the music. I didn't care how much I made.
Yeah.
I took the subway. We took the subway to get to the gig at a club in 7th Avenue in front of that basketball court, Village Vanguard.
Okay.
And Ted Jones and Mel Lewis had a big band. And
Yeah.
every Monday they played big bands.
Yeah.
And I used to go and I met Didi Bridgewater there. She was their singer. And then when Gil invited me to sing, Gil's music was completely different than theirs. They played swing and bebop and swing. Gil played free form music. You could do anything you wanted. And then none of the songs have titles. They had numbers. So they were playing very free, and then Gil would say, number 23. And then the musicians would go looking for number 23. And 1, 2, there we go. Number 23 is in. And I have to tell you, I learned a lot. I did learn a lot.
I can imagine. Were you the only singer?
I was the only singer.
Yeah.
I was the only singer. No other singer could sing with that man because it was free form.
Yeah.
At that time, there was only a couple of singers that could sing free form. One of them is a Polish singer named Ursula Dusziak.
Sure.
She was absolutely on, and she also studied classical music. So in the middle of the free, sometimes she would give it a soprano note. That what? We would, and it was valid. Everybody dug it. Oh, something new happened.
Yeah, Jay Clayton had her group with Ursula, and she had several different groups, but like Bobby McFerrin was in one of her.
Oh yeah, that was a great band. It's called Jazz Summit. And
Yeah.
they invited me to the group, but it was no money either, and I needed to make money to pay for my bills. And I told them, listen, I really want to go, but I have shows until 3 months from now. Forgive me. I'm going to cry for the rest of my life.
Oh. Hi, Jay. Jay's here.
Hi, Jay. I love Jay. I love Jay. She's also a very, she has guts, you know. She's not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
She would do things different. All of us would do things different. We wanted to meet in a place where nobody went. And Jay was one of them, and Ursula was the other one, and Bobby and me. It would have been the four of us. I don't remember who became the fourth singer.
Yeah, I don't remember. Jay would tell us, because I do. I mean, yeah, I know that fourth singer is just kind of hanging in my memory somewhere. And yeah, so let's see, you were talking about.
We're talking about this, the Jazz Summit and Bobby McFerrin. That's another guy. I just saw recently a show, just Bobby and Chick. It was so hilarious. They would tease each other. Did you see that one?
Yes.
They would tease each other through the whole thing. And Bobby was superb, and Chick was superb, and they scream at each other, and they play jokes at each other. And I learned from them. We are entertaining people. But I used to go on stage, and I never sang for the people. I sang for myself and
Yeah.
for the musicians.
But you shared with the people, though.
I didn't.
But just by opening yourself, I mean, I watched a bunch of those videos. You were in control and in the music, the universe of the musicians and you, but you were open so that the audience could come in, you know?
Yeah, they would, but my biggest fear was that I wasn't going to come in at the right time, and I had my back to the audience sometimes, and I sang looking at each one of them, but I didn't have to because they were so good. Because in music, very, very important is how you end your solo, because you're going to pass it to the next musician.
Yeah.
And if you keep playing, the other musician would never know when you finish.
Yeah.
So, and I kept banging on them. Make sure that everybody understands that you are gonna finish in 8 bars, so everybody comes down, so their entrance can start from the lower point, so they can reach the highest point. They can develop to the highest point.
Yeah.
And then I had a problem, for instance, with when I sang with Dizzy Gillespie. I was with Dizzy for 2 years on the road.
Oh.
And he had the top players. And one of the trumpet players' name is Arturo Sandoval. And all the players were wonderful. And John Fadis was there, Claudio Roditi was there, and Dizzy, of course. And then we have a song called Night in Tunisia. And at the end of the song, the 4 trumpet players will come to the front microphone, and they will pretend that they will finish the song. They will do la 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 la. And they wouldn't finish. They would do that for 5 minutes, and they finish. When Arturo came in, he would start his solo from the middle C of the piano, which is already high. So from there, where is he going? Where is he going to finish? He played such a high note that it hurt my ears. I used to dread the time he would come to do it.
I hope he's learned his lesson since then.
Oh my God! He's doing many things now.
He is.
At one time, I never used dresses because there were 22 musicians, men there, and I didn't want to look sexy or not. I want to sing. I just didn't want to. So never wore dresses. Then we had to do a video at the Royal Albert Hall in London. So I said, well, this is going to be very spectacular. The guys are going to wear tuxedos, and I'm going to wear a dress. So I put a dress above my knee. As soon as they made my intro and I walk on stage, when I walked on stage, they started to whistling to me. I was so embarrassed. I could die. They, phew, wow. They saw my legs by the first time.
Which just, brings everything into a reality that you can't resist.
I could kill him, I hope. And they edited. They took it off the tape. You can find the tape on YouTube. But I did sing that one song. I was nominated for a Grammy with that one song by Djavan, and it's called Esquinas, Corners, and it's a beautiful song.
Beautiful. By the way, Jay said it was Gene Lee.
Oh, Gene Lee, fantastic writer. The best.
Yeah.
The best. Is he online with you?
No, but so Gene Lee was the fourth in the group in Vocal Summit. But yeah, I forgot. I'm not that super familiar with Gene Lee, although I knew of her, coming up.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I know of her. I know she had a soul music group. She played in a soul music group. But I was talking. I thought you were talking about Gene Lees. Gene Lees wrote.
Yes.
He translated most of the Brazilian music.
Yes.
Great.
I have to ask this question. So when I was young and I had twin sisters a little bit older than me, and they had gorgeous voices, and one played piano. So we grew up around the piano singing. And of course, as soon as the Jobim music started coming out, which was probably, I don't know, in the 60s, early 60s, it kind of started filtering in to the US. And of course, we heard Astrid Gilberto. So, and I remember my sisters and I went to see her sing because we'd been listening to her for a long time. And we were like, it was like watching paint dry. No offense, Astrid, but the woman was like, so I know she wasn't a singer, but what did you think when that was happening? I mean, did you have any opinion about what was going on? Like she flooded the, kind of the airwaves with Girl from Ipanema?
Oh, because the thing is, João was her husband, João Gilberto.
Yeah.
And he refused to sing in English. He refused. And the production said, we have to put the song in English so you hit the airwaves. And they couldn't find a solution. So Creed Taylor said, why doesn't she sing? She's very in tune. She's good. She is a singer. She's a good singer, but her style is more mellow. It's more soft. It's like a little girl singing, and she doesn't sing rough stuff or anything. And indeed, the music became, until today, is the most played music in the world.
I believe
the Girl from Ipanema is the most played. Anywhere you go, there's two things they know about Brazil. Pelé and the Girl from Ipanema.
Yeah. So did you have any feelings about that?
Astrid?
Yeah, I mean, did you think wow, now people
she was like a mother to everybody. Every new Brazilian that arrived had nowhere to go, no money to eat. She would support them. She would go to all their shows. She never missed a show. She was not arrogant or anything. She was so sweet. She still is so sweet. She now lives in Philadelphia. She's not singing anymore. And from time to time I hear from her, but I haven't seen her in a little while. No.
Yeah. I would love to hear more about your time with Chick Corea. And so both Airto and you worked with Chick probably the same amount, right? You were in that band.
Yeah. Well, Airto was not to be there. We had another drummer who joined. His name was Horace Arnold. But he wanted to play free. He didn't want to play music, songs. He just wanted to bang and bash and do. And Chick said, listen, the reason I formed this band is because I'm sick and tired to play a show and everybody say, I love your music. It was great. And I said, oh, yeah, can you sing a little line from that you can remember? Or notes, maybe. And nobody could because it was free. You don't pay attention. So his biggest dream was that the whole world would know his music. And he realized the only way he could achieve that was to put a singer in front, actually singing the melodies. Because if somebody could sing, the audience could sing too.
Yeah, right.
That was his vision. And he wanted his music to be popular all over the world. That was his dream.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, his music is popular all over the world. There's not one day that I open my phone that it doesn't start with Chick or something of Chick, of somebody dedicating to Chick. He achieved his goal, his dream.
Yeah.
His music became popular and is still jazz music.
What was one of your favorite or a few of your favorite ones to sing?
Yeah. Well, I lost her voice.
Oh.
Perdi a voz dela. Eu não estou ouvindo a voz dela. Well, I tell you one thing. Chick taught me something I already had a lot of discipline because of sports. Yeah. But he taught me discipline. Não estou ouvindo ela. Como é que você vai falar? Agora eu estou. Foi aqui. Please. Foi aqui. I wasn't listening to you.
Oh, okay.
Ok. É aqui. It's here. Oh. Alô?
Hello.
Okay. Agora, now.
Okay, good.
He was very disciplined. And he demanded discipline from us. And one day it was snowing a lot. And as I told you, we were poor. We had to take the subway from 72nd Street to the Village Vanguard in the village. Plus, the club was in the basement. We had to go downstairs. And Stanley was playing acoustic bass. And we had to walk 3 blocks from the subway stop to the club. And Stanley walking on the snow with his big bass and me and rushing as much as we could. When we arrived at the club, Chick was already in the piano playing. And Stanley started to take the cover from his bass, and Chick made a sign to him not to take the cover. He said, I'm going to play this set by myself. Huh. And he played the entire set by himself. On the break, we went to the dressing room and he said, I don't allow anybody to arrive late at the gig. But Chick, it was snow in the subway and we had to walk, and I don't care. Leave home early. Don't care. If you came in late, I'm going to take from your pay. I asked, which pay? We make $50 a week. What? We don't have a pay. Half of it is to pay for transportation. Anyways, we never got late again. And that ever got late again. And then he ran out of one. Chick ran out of one. And so he said, now I'm going to have to go to Europe to play some piano solos to make some money. So I want to continue with this band. Please don't disband. Don't go with other bands. I want to keep this band. I want to have this band. Wait for me. I'll be back in 2 months. And then he went, and I recorded a lot. I did a lot of commercials. I used to, and Stanley also recorded a lot, and we were making monies from the recordings. And then one day, a letter came in, and instead of a letter, it came those words. In my life, I never feel so right. In my life, nothing seems so right.
As to be with you.
Yeah. There was no letter, it was only the lyrics for the song. I said, I think Chick is going crazy. Look what he wrote. And when he finally arrived and he played the song, we fell in love with the song. and he did things like that, you know. And I learned from him. I learned a lot.
That's great. I had asked, actually, Elaine Dame, a singer in the States, she'd like to know if you could recommend a few of your recordings that she could introduce her singing students to you through.
She's talking about jazz music or Brazilian?
I don't know, Elaine. I'm not sure. I think anything, just so that they can see who Flora Purim is.
I have over 50 CDs, over 30 LPs, but there's one that I particularly like a whole lot, and it's called Speak No Evil. And I think I did one of my best singing in that record. And there's also Humble People was my first record for George Wynn's label. And then that one has a lot of great, I sing in African, I sing in different languages. And there's so many. I loved all the records. When you're doing a record, you kind of love what you're doing.
I know. When people say, "What's your favorite?"
It's hard. It's hard.
Somebody said Tenho. Tenyo. Is that a record?
Yeah. Tenho.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. Speaking of my bad Portuguese pronunciation, I did sing a song Velho Piano, and excuse my pronunciation, but I wanted to bring up Leni Andrade too.
Oh, she's great. She's great. Yeah, she was the jazz singer in town. I was not. She was the one. She was the jazz singer. She improvised. She played piano. She improvised because. Brazilian music, you don't have much space to improvise. Nowadays, it changed, but then you couldn't improvise. You could only sing the song, and that's it. But she would sing and then improvise the songs, And she was one of the first ones here.
She's so incredible. She came to LA. There was a pianist in San Francisco who was in love with Brazilian music and brought her here for some gigs. And I just thought, oh my God, she's like Ella Fitzgerald, she's like so incredible. So I was definitely a fan of hers after that. But I really loved how she did how do you say it? Velho piano.
Yeah, velho piano.
Yes. Okay.
In fact, Leni, Herb Alpert's wife.
Yes.
She wrote beautiful lyrics in English for velho. Velho means old.
Yes.
Velho piano. Velho piano. Old piano. And
I love the premise of that song. It's like love. Well, most Brazilian songs have the height of love and the depth of despair, right? And so that song is a good example because it talks about this love that you have, and then eventually it becomes like an old piano sitting in the corner, never being played.
Yeah. And do you know what's funny? One day she called me. I was living in Santa Barbara, California, and she said, "Flora, do you know who wrote the lyrics for Velho Piano?" I said, "No, I don't remember." And then 2 days later, she called me again and said, "I didn't remember either. It was me. I was the one that wrote the lyrics."
Really? Because I thought it was Nana
Caymmi. She's a singer.
Yeah.
She's from a family of great musicians.
Yeah.
She didn't write Velho Piano, no. And Nana Caymmi,
So you're saying that Leni wrote the lyrics? Is that what you said?
No, I said Leni Hall.
Leni Hall wrote the English lyrics. Yeah. She also, I sing another song that she wrote, what is it?
Cantador. O Cantador?
Yeah. Really beautiful. And
that's a classic.
Beautiful lyrics to that.
Yeah. But as you see, Brazil is so rich in music.
Yeah.
That I know I left. I left because it was a coup, and the military took over the.
Hoje é aniversário do golpe, né?
Yeah, today is the birthday of 30 years ago when the militaries took over the country, and censorship was very, very bad, That's when I decided to leave and go to a country where my music would be censored, no matter what. They would even censorship instrumental music. Can you believe it?
Because it made you feel free.
I don't know why, but they were ignorant. They don't care for culture. They don't. Even now we're going through a very heavy political problem. They ended up all the programs that backed up festivals and special shows, and of course with the COVID-19 we cannot have audiences, but we find a way to do it without an audience. We go to the theaters or to the clubs, we stay apart from each other, everybody take a shot to make sure you're not positive, and we play, and people watch it on TV. From 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, we'll be playing at theater so-and-so. Make sure you're there to watch our show. And I'm watching more shows than I would ever watch in my entire life.
I know.
Because I am at the comfort of my house. Oh, and who is this? Let me listen. Oh, she's great. She's fantastic. I gotta listen again and again and again.
I'm the same way. I have 4. Well, now I think right now I have 8. I don't know, 8 or 10 tabs open, and a lot of it is music, and there are people playing at the same time. And then even if you want to go back and listen, like, I can't listen right now, I'll listen later. And then you have to practice in there too, and work on your own stuff. But really, there's just so much. There's so much amazing stuff on right now.
Yeah, that is. When we are practicing, though, we procure. We try to find a place that there's no noise and nobody knows we're there, and we stay there for 6 to 8 hours, because details are very, very important. The music could be great, but there are little. Airto has his magic percussion, and he does some sounds in between a phrase or another, or doing, and it's just telling a story. You are telling a story, and it's amazing. I think if I had to do another profession, I would know what to do. I know how to type, I know how to play, I know how to write, but singing is singing.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky to have this as our life.
We are blessed. We are blessed. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there? I was just interviewed, and it said, "Do you have any advice for younger people?" And it's like, well, yeah, I always have advice, but it depends on what's going on with the person. Do you have an overall? Do you have some things, advice that you can give younger musicians coming up?
I do have. First, I think they have to practice, and they have to practice every day for a few hours, and that has to be a discipline. Every day from 4 to 8, you don't answer the phone, you don't talk to anybody, and keep trying your licks, try different things, work on your extension, try to extend your voice as much as possible so you can reach the highest and the lowest, and practice. Then try to sing very, very fast songs, and then try to sing a ballad as slow as you can, the slowest possible way you can, without interfering with the interpretation of music, And I feel that it's utmost important to rehearse.
Okay, cool. And another question that always comes up too, which I honestly, there's been so much of this that I don't remember. I remember a few things, but do you remember anything that, like, older musicians said to you that changed your life that you never forgot?
Oh, I remember Gil Evans telling me, never change.
Really?
Keep doing what you're doing. This is it. Just do it. And I was on the bandstand. I was right above a tuba player. His name was Howard Johnson.
Oh yeah.
And I would scream. I would scream and I would whistle. I would do anything I could because it was free and I could. And he would look up to me with a real terrible face and asking me to bring it down. And Gil was in front of the band saying, "Punch, more." So that was an interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
Let us listen to a song, shall we? I think it would be fun to have a quick listen, although it's great to talk to you. But yeah, and I'm going to share my screen and then you can.
No, you whistle. I can't whistle.
What about I'll whistle, but finding a song. I think, boy, I mean.
Also, after that song you played to open the show,
yeah,
there's a song that followed, and it's so beautiful. It's a Milton Nascimento song.
Oh, in the same show? Okay.
In the same show. And it's the following song. And it's called Nothing Will Be As It Was Tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. I'd love to hear that.
Got my feet on the road just to see you. In my hair, got a taste of the dawn. I know nothing will be as it was tomorrow. Tell me, when will I hear from my people?
Yeah.
Tell me, when will I hear from my friends? Now that we've got our feet on the road, now that we have a taste of the dawn, holding on to a teardrop of sun in the mouth of the night. Any day, any time, any hour, you can feel my new song in the air. I know nothing will be as it was tomorrow. Tell me, when will I hear from my people? Tell me, what will I hear from my friends? Bleeding fire deep down in my heart. No one ever could tear us apart. Holding on to a teardrop of sun in the mouth of the night. Nada será como antes, nada fica como está. Nada será como antes, nada fica como está. Nada será como antes, nada fica como está. Nada será como antes, nada fica consta. Eu disse nada, ninguém diz nada, nada. sobre o meu coração. Caminho, meu caminho devagar, é tão sozinho, mas tenho tempo pra sonhar. Meu num domingo qualquer hora, ventania em qualquer direção, ninguém diz nada. Segunda-feira, já é terça-feira, quarta-feira, quinta-feira, sexta-feira, nem telefona, como é que eu posso ver? Ninguém diz nada, não, ninguém diz nada de bom, não, me leva sempre com meu carinho, meu coração e a cabeça, oi, me leva passarinho.
Yeah. After that solo. Oh, if you wanna take it out.
Okay. Oh wow, that was like too much. Look at you. What were you guys doing? Were you singing or talking?
Oh, he's talking. He said, "Wow." He was saying, "What a song!" I didn't.
Man.
He was also. It was a very good solo. In fact, sometimes he showed just his solo. He plays his tape for his people that listen to his blogs and stuff. I'm going to play a solo I took with Flora when I was in Rio, and that was it.
Oh my God, that was good, and you sounded beautiful. That was it's a beautiful song. I've heard that before, but not too much, and so beautiful. The Butterfly Dream, yep, Elizabeth.
Butterfly Dreams was my first solo album in America.
Oh wow!
My very, very first solo album. Yeah, with All in Keep News at Milestone. In fact, we were playing. Do you know San Francisco well?
Yeah, well, kind of.
It used to be a club called the Keystone Corner in San Francisco, and everybody played there. You know that club?
Yes.
So Carlos Santana used to come to see us every night on the second show.
Wow.
And one day he came in, and I didn't know him, and we never introduced, we didn't talk or anything. But one day he went downstairs to the dressing rooms and said, "Well, would you guys mind going with me? This is at 3:00 in the morning. Go with me to my studio. I'm recording a record, and I'm doing some Jobim's music. Would you mind coming to check it out?" "Oh, let's go. I have nothing else to do." 3:00. I wouldn't sleep until 6 because after the show you are all vibed out and you can't bring it down.
Yeah.
So we went there, and he played a song. First, he played one song he wanted Airto to play, but his drummer played it so well. There's nothing there for Airto to play that would be better, And the poor guy was next to us while Carlos is telling us for Airto to do it. And so he insisted. So Airto went there and played it. And he took the guy, Michael Shree, off. Then he asked me if I could sing two other songs. Jobim songs, Promises of the Fisherman, and another one, I can't remember. But fact is, the record went out and was a super success. And before this record, I recorded one. I went to sit in with him at the Museum of Modern Art, and I sat in for one song by the keyboard player. I didn't know the song. They put the chart in front of me, and it's called Yours is the Light. And the album is called Borboleta, which is a beautiful cover. And it took off. The song started to play, and the next day, a critic, one of the biggest critics of the area, Ralph Gleason, wrote a review that finally a new voice for jazz music arrived. So after he wrote this beautiful review, the following day I got a call from All Keep News saying that the company would like to sign me for a record deal.
Oh, wow.
Just because I sang one song setting, nothing. So I signed with Fantasy Records for 4 years. And I did Butterfly Dreams, Stories to Tell, 500 Miles High at Montreux. I did some very good stuff for them.
Yeah. Wow. It's, once again, you hear the story of how something fabulous happened by just walking ahead and doing, you want to hang out at 3 a.m? Yeah. That's kind of where it started, right? And then, yeah.
But I don't know any musicians that play at night that go home after the gig. It's hard to go home because you have to come down, you have to come down, and I was not a drinker. I hate to drink. I don't drink that much. Once in a while, a wine with dinner, but in somebody's house, not here.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was not using drugs. Later on, I started to using drugs, but at that time, I didn't.
Yeah. Larry Goldman. Hi, Larry. Great piano player here. He wanted to know who was in that band that we saw. It was
that band was a keyboard player. Name is Steve Bach.
Oh, Steve, that's interesting because I was watching him and I was thinking, he really reminds me of somebody. Yeah, Steve Bach. Okay.
Wonderful musician.
Yeah.
And I think now the Cirque du Soleil is closed, but he was the musical director lately for the Cirque du Soleil.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And then I had Bob Harrison, who lives in Hawaii right now, playing bass. Michael Shapiro, who played many years with Sergio Mendes, playing drums. I saw percussion, and Gary Mick.
Yeah.
That was 5 of us, 6 of us.
Great band. Bunch of people, have seen you. Judy Wexler, who's a great singer. She saw you in Airto at Keystone Corner in 1980.
Oh, yeah.
And here's Geraldine. Let's see if I can pronounce her name. Eguiluz, or something like that. I met Flora and Airto with Jovino Santos in 1995 in Paris. Wow, the show was amazing, and we had a super, and Airto was so generous, paid for all. We were like 25 people on the table. I guess she went out to dinner with you. Might have photos of that night. Total fan. All my love and respect to you, and you're amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, and starting with the shaman Hermeto. Yeah, the shaman. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was actually on a small island in South America with Airto and the singer who used to sing with Pat Metheny. That kind of that singing.
Nana Vasconcelos. He was a percussionist that sang.
Was that him? He was a kind of a very European-looking guy, tall, white, kind of skinny. I forget his name, but I have some of his music. But I had brought my singing group to this workshop, and Hermeto was part of the workshop.
Oh, and he's a genius.
Yeah, there was this one day where he was doing a workshop for anybody and everybody. And I was doing a workshop. And after my workshop, I ran over and he was writing on the board. He was, just composing something that everybody could play with whatever instrument. And there was an old woman by the front of the stage. Her daughter had brought her, and she was electrified. She was standing there electrified, and her daughter kept saying, "Mom, come sit down." She wouldn't, she was like, it was, Hermeto. Yeah. I mean, he played literally everything noise. It was beautiful. Everything. He was a beautiful spirit.
Yeah.
And he wants you to come to New York.
Well, he travels quite a lot, but now it's a lockdown. This whole year, there was not too much festivals of traveling. I think none, because when we think this thing is going to be over, a new strain of it comes up, and I have 2 more songs to finish this record.
You have this new record, yeah.
Yeah, and I was supposed to be recording this today. And they said they extended the lockdown until next Monday. So here I am again waiting to sing. And it's practically finished, and I want to finish so I can move on to different projects,
Yeah, I know. I can't wait to hear your project. It's going to be
Yeah.
exciting. And another friend of mine who's a wonderful singer in Michigan, Sunny Wilkinson, and she said, she's calling you a goddess, and you helped form us. Sunny, I said the same thing actually earlier. You helped form all of us in our generation. And yeah, she's really glad you're here. Laurie Bell, great flute player. She's here. Yeah. And oh, yes, Joyce, thank you. It was Pedro Aznar.
Oh, yeah, the cantor, the singer, yeah.
Yeah.
He's Argentine, yeah. It's very good. Very good.
Now, Elizabeth, I'm not sure. I think she already did, but she's saying, can you tell us about the incident with Carlos Santana? Was there more?
No, basically, that's it. We see each other from time to time. I go to his house. He comes to my house when I'm in America.
Yeah.
And we became friends for life, you know. If I have a little issue or problem, I call him up and say, man, what do? I have to do this. And then he says, do that, be quiet, don't stress out. Nothing's worse. and he became a really, really good friend of mine, really good.
That's really nice. Yeah, my friend Joyce is asking this, and I'm sure everybody would like to know. Are you considering doing an online performance so that we can all stream?
When now?
Yeah.
Today?
Well,
no.
In the present time.
No, today I have to have a band to back me up. I mean, just singing a cappella. At this point, I'm not prepared. I don't even know which song I would sing, but I wouldn't mind singing in another day, in another show that you invite me.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, I think they were, asking about a show that you would do, like a show with a band and,
Yeah, I don't have my band here now.
Yeah. Where are they?
Joyce, let me tell you, you know all my music. You have all my records. Put the record on and listen to it.
Well, I'm sure we could sit for 2 weeks in front of YouTube and watch you, because there's a lot of wonderful, wonderful things.
No. Yeah. Joyce is a great supporter of jazz music from the beginning. Yes. Like when I first went to Seattle, I sang at Jazz Alley, and she was there every night. We became friends, and it was good.
She really gets around. Yeah. She knows a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Like I said, there's so much in your career, and I think I like to ask questions that maybe other people don't ask. How did you feel about something, or how do you remember the first time you realized something? Is there I do know what I want to ask you. Do you have some favorite records that of other people or yourself, I guess, that you that just, I guess, you would take to a desert island,
Yeah, I do. I have two that I go to sleep every night listening to them. One of them is Jeff Beck, the guitar player.
Yeah.
A record called Blow by Blow. And there's a song there. I like the whole record, but this one song called Because We Ended Like Lovers, I love the song. I listen to it at all times.
Yeah.
And the other one that I listen all times is Miles Davis plus 19 with Gil Evans.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one I hear all the time.
Yeah. When I was in college, the first thing I would put on in the morning when I got up was Miles. Yeah. Him and George Coleman. And that would just put me in a space every day.
It does. But lately, I've been digging into Chet Baker. And Chet Baker is complete, because besides playing the way he plays, his intonation and everything.
His
He
tone.
can sing. He can sing and sing. I can't believe how beautiful he can sing, you know. And I can't let go. I've been discussing with friends of mine. I think I'm inclined to take Chet Baker as my favorite now.
I have a friend, one of my dearest friends is a singer named Cecily Gardner. We have a group called Fish to Birds, which is a 7-piece a cappella improv group. And which it's a great group of people. And we've been together about 9 years. But anyway, Cecily, her brother is a pianist, and he lives in Brazil. His name is Jeff Gardner. And he's quite a great player, and she is a great singer with a real ability to write lyrics. And she has written. Let me see, Cess. She just wrote lyrics for Anna Maria by Wayne Shorter. And she said she gave you a nod with a few lines, light as a feather and open your eyes, learn how to fly. And she also wanted to know, and this is the kind of question I like too, were you aware during your early days when singing with all these amazing people that you were actually opening a new door for vocalists?
Oh, no. I was just having fun. I had no aspirations to be famous or well known. I had no aspiration. I just enjoy the vibe, the exchange between musicians, the souls, and I just end up developing systems to be part of it, you know, and it grows and grows. And in 1974, something happened. I left Chick and signed with Milestone and recorded Butterfly Dreams. And in that year, I was voted the top female jazz singer. And I couldn't believe it. You know, I am white and Jewish, Brazilian. What am I doing in this list? I'm not competing. I'm not into it. It's just, and then Brazil found out, and then I became famous in Brazil. A Brazilian is a top female jazz singer, 1974.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you influenced a lot of us, and in those years, the music was so happening then. It was so expansive and adventurous, and then you were, like I said, you were a vocalist who was opening new doors for us. We hadn't really been aware that you could do that, you know.
Yeah, well, I wasn't aware either of many things. For instance, I went to see a comedy show. It was what's his name, Bill Cosby, and the other one that burned himself.
Yeah, I know who you mean. What is his name? Gosh, I know. I'm sure somebody out there is going to write the name.
Yeah. So Bill Cosby walked on stage with 2 microphones. And I was just watching, you know. In one microphone, he would tell the jokes. And on the other microphone, he will make the sounds. For instance, a man walking, and with his mouth, he would do talk, talk, talk. Somebody knock at the door and talk, 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 talk. And I said, what an idea, incredible idea. So I went back to California and joined George Duke for a while. He produced many of my records. And he used an echoplex, which is an effect that has a little tape in there. And it sounds dirty. It sounds. But the tapes, they have 1 minute tape, 2 minute tape, 3 minute tape. If you take a 2 or 3 minute tape everything you sang for the 2 minute or 3 minute would repeat itself, so you can sing with yourself. So I used to bring that on stage and play with it. I'll play 1 minute and 2 minutes and 3 minutes, and then I was singing 4 or 5 voices, my own voices, with the Echoplex.
Yeah.
And then I started to use 2 microphones. Nobody understood, why does she use 2 microphones? It's because one microphone is for effects, the other one is just to sing straight,
Yeah. Right. You know who does that now still is Lisa. Lisa. Oh gosh, my names are really bad today. Lisa. She was in 20 Feet to Stardom, and I've seen her down. You know who it is. Anyway, she uses them really well as well. This one just real echoey, and then it's a really great way. But you were probably one of the first people to use that. Well, Jay, I know did that. I'm sure she was doing that back then too.
Yeah. Now since new technology came in, it's ruined for everybody, because nowadays the kids go to the garage and make a record, an entire record at the garage. They have so much technology at their hands that they can use everything and compose an orchestra in the garage.
Right.
It took away the fun of being together and laugh and look at each other and smile. Wow, good one. Take this one too. It took away a lot of that really fun thing we used to do when we played with each other together in the same room.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I just saw an instrument the other day that it's like, I guess it's a woodwind, but it has something like 152 sounds you can use on it. But I mean, that's okay. Oh, by the way, the name was Richard Pryor. Thank you, everybody.
Richard Pryor, that's the one. Richard, he was so crazy. Like, we all were friends with Herbie Hancock. We got together very often at Herbie's house. And then he would start a subject, a polemic subject. And then he would shut up, and everybody started to argue. Suddenly, he's quiet, and everybody's talking to each other. No, because this is supposed to be like, was his favorite game, is start a fire and get away from it and see everybody punching each other,
Yeah, big troublemaker with a big T. By the way, it was Lisa Fisher who I was thinking of.
Oh, she's a great composer, Lisa Fisher. I sang some of his music. She's a wonderful musician, and she sings and plays, and she was talented 20 years ago when I met her,
Yeah, her voice is absolutely amazing. Her range is crazy, and just really, she's so musical. And I really admire the band that she has. I think it's a trio, guitar trio, and it's just pretty cool. Mavis Staples does that too. She has a guitar trio, and you don't see that all that often. Singers singing with a guitar trio.
But don't you think that is very innovative?
Yes.
Instead of have a piano, bass, and drums, have different instrumentation to change the approach. And it's just, I think. I'm going to try some new instrumentation in my next adventures I take. Yeah. To me now, everything is a journey, it's an adventure. If I'm having fun, everything is fun.
Well, it's been 2 hours, so I don't want to take up more of your time. And I just really seriously want to thank you. You're so much fun to talk to. I could talk to you for another 2 hours easily, but it's just great to get to know you. And I'm sure everybody here is so happy to hear you speak and get your, thoughts and ideas. And I'm sure you're going to be getting a lot of love vibes in the air.
Oh, I thank you. I thank you. Now is the time to sing love vibes to the whole world.
I know.
We're gonna have to do it. Lift them up. Some people are not dealing very well with this whole thing, but all we have to do, words have a powerful effect in people. Good words, incentive words, Never say, I won't be able to do this. I can't do this. This is never say that, because it's not true. If you work on it, you do it. You do it.
Yeah.
And if you throw negative thoughts, they'll come back to you. So when you wake up, think positive. It doesn't matter how you feel. Just say, what a beautiful day. What am I going to do today? Well, I can't go out. Well, let me turn on all the sounds I have in the house and play them at the same time to see what I feel.
Yeah, I know. Another nice thing, which I do from time to time, is I wake up and then I think, what am I grateful for? And then it's pretty easy to find grateful things when you wake up. It's like, well, first of all, you woke up.
Yeah, that's a good.
And you have a house, you have your husband, and there's a lot to be thankful for right now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And you are a glass half full kind of person, for sure.
Oh, what do you mean by being?
Well, some people think they see a glass, it's halfway full, right? Some people think it's halfway full, and some people think it's halfway empty.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely like that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that very much. I don't think it's not full. I don't. I am very positive these days. It took me years to understand how important it is to talk to every single body if they want to. I hate when they put bodyguards backstage. I say, please send them away. I'll talk to everybody. People travel hours to reach the place where I'm going to sing. Why wouldn't I talk to them?
Yeah.
I sometimes give them instruments. Take this home and practice. One day when we meet again, maybe you can sit in with the band.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. Thanks so much.
Cathy, great. It's great that you're doing this. I'm sure many people are watching you. And I saw your interview with Gary Meek, and I adore people that make other people understand that so many different kinds of music that you can appreciate. It doesn't have to be only jazz. Mostly jazz to me is important. Yes. But I hear everything. I can hear country music, and even the country music I used to hate. Suddenly, I am beginning to like it. Not all of them, but those guys are so wealthy. They have so much technology. They import all the equipment to have the best, to sound the best. And then some of them are good. They don't sing like caipiras. We call them caipiras. I don't know how you call it in English. I mean, how do you call it? Rednecks.
Thanks, Philip.
Is it rednecks? I hate jazz. Wait a minute. I'm going to sing something to you that you're going to change your mind. Then I start singing a song. In the middle, I put a little verse of redneck. And then I continue with my jazz and say, oh, that's not so bad. Is that jazz? Yes, this is country jazz. Country jazz is a new.
Wow. Well, you really are an ambassador then.
That's true. That's true.
Well, yeah, stay safe. And Flora just got her second vaccination today, so.
Yeah, I'm over.
Drink
Okay,
lots
Cathy.
of water today, Flora.
Yeah, I'm going to do this right now as soon as I hang up from you. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Cathy, for having me and talking to me.
And Philippe, thank you for your help.
You're welcome, huh? I just wrecked the audio.
You did?
I'm gonna send it to you. Yeah.
Oh.
He recorded the audio.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I actually have recorded this whole thing, and I will send you guys the MP4 so you can have the movie too.
That's true.
Thank
Great, Cathy. You got it together.
Flora,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
And I'll see you guys all week. You can come on anytime and see something around noon. Sometimes I'm a little late, but
Okay.
see people all the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.